Hello to all the panels. Before we start our presentation, which is the studies of carbon footprint at Polytechnic Kuching, Sarawak, I would like to introduce myself and my group member. My name is Natasha Namilan, and my group members are Deborah Edarisa, Ashley Michalia Anak Jonathan, and Nur Maisara binti Muhammad Sufyan. Table of content consists of introduction, which is project background, objective, scope, and importance. The second one is literature review, present previous research and reference, methodology, describe the data collection method, and conclusion. Conclude chapter 1 to 3 with expectation result. Carbon footprint is identified as the carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere. Thermal comfort is a necessary access in any buildings, which contribute to satisfaction of occupants. This research conducted will determine the carbon footprint and thermal comfort of Polytechnic Kuching, Sarawak. And the last one is obtained data will then be analyzed and compared to certain standards such as CFC and H-ray. It is well highlighted that increase of ambient air temperature, specifically in urbanized area which is located in the tropical climate, will result in enormous negative impact not only on the social but also environmental dimension of cities, say Aflaki et al. 2017. Hence, it's essential to conduct a study regarding on effective cooling approach, as the aspect of high thermal energy will affect the expectations of university students and staff to have a thermal comfortable condition. Rocketing development in constructing new buildings and balancing of modern human lifestyle lead to recklessness of knowledge on their health and environmental sustainability. Hence, this study is to make sure building is comfortable, functional, efficient, and also safe. Better acknowledgement on environment sustaining in any terms is important to avoid pollution that contributed by carbon footprint.
All right, thank you, Natasha. Next is problem statement. The factors that lead to this study being conducted were, first one is urbanization. Air quality in Malaysia worsen and lead to adverse effect on human health and ecosystem. Second one is importance of oxygen. Slight decreasing of oxygen will immediately felt by people. Third one is water overflow, where seawater overflow caused by relative of climate change may occur by 2050. The fourth one is greenhouse effect. This is a common factor that many may be aware of it, as it leads to global warming. The fifth one, which is the last one, is cerebral hypoxia. This happened due to lack of oxygen in brain. Alright, we will move to literature review, chapter 2. Objective. The objective of doing this study is to identify carbon footprint in Block B women dormitory, workshop, and canteen. The second one is to analyze the data of temperature, humidity, air velocity, lux, and carbon dioxide. The third one is to give a proper recommendation based on ASHRAE, JKR, and OSHA standard. Alright, these are the three objectives we provide. As a whole, objectively, or in other words, the purpose of our study is to study the level of carbon emission or safety in terms of air in this institution, Polytechnic Kuching, Sarawak, is safe or not for residents such as students and staff. Alright, next is scope of research. Before this, we took other location for our research, but due to pandemic factors and time constraints, we unanimously chose 5 locations in PKS to be used as data observation sites. The first one is Building Services Lab. This is the floor plan for Building Services Lab. The second one is Concrete and Structure Lab. This is the floor plan for Concrete and Structure Lab. The third one is Welding Workshop. This is the floor plan for Welding Workshop. It's very complicated. The fourth one is Canteen. So this is the floor plan for Canteen. It's more complicated than Welding Workshop. Right. Last but not least, Women Dormitory Block B. Okay, Women Dormitory Block B. This is the floor plan for Women Dormitory Block B, but this is the floor plan for rooms. Actually, this dormitory building is a four-story building. Since the design of this building is quite complicated and there are more than 30 rooms for each level, we agreed to perform data observation from one room only for each level. Right, next one is the importance of study carbon dioxide. Most people are unaware of the primary health effect caused by carbon dioxide, as it is considered to be minimally toxic by inhalation. However, for mild exposure of carbon dioxide, exposure will cause us headache and drowsiness. As the level of carbon dioxide increases, the symptoms such as rapid breathing, confusion, increased cardiac output, and even elevated blood pressure may occur. Hence, it is why knowing the level of carbon dioxide that exists in an institution is a necessity to have better safety precaution for carbon dioxide. Some incidents may be inevitable, but it is better to always be ready before it happens. Next, I will pass the slide to Maisara to present her part.
Now I am going to present some of the literature review that we have used in order to carry out this research. Total household expenditures are classified into 44 consumer product categories, COI, COP, and their related GHG intensity based on the 2013 German Official Income and Expenditure Survey, EVS. The finding revealed that while city density reduces GHG emission in Germany, household singularization, better wages, and larger spending possibilities in cities have the opposite effect. As a result, in terms of per capita emissions, smaller and bigger communities are about equal. NDIR carbon dioxide detector. Although non-dispersive infra NDIR sensors are a low-cost method of measuring carbon dioxide level in the environment, their accuracy and precision are insufficient for several scientific applications. Many of these instruments employ electrochemical processes to monitor trace gas concentrations. With a broad availability of low-cost mid-infra light sources and detectors, a small number of non-dispersive infra NDIR CO2 sensors have also become commercially accessible. They are designed for use in a range of applications, such as ventilation control, agricultural, and industrial uses, and inclusion into standalone commercial goods. Some of these gadgets can detect ambient light. Thermal Imaging Camera (TIC). A thermal imaging camera is a gadget that helps in fire control. Such technologies are highly valued by firefighters, and their use is rising all the time. TIC makes the task simpler, promotes the safety of rescuer, adds to the speedy and efficient execution of the action, can minimize extinguishing chemical usage, and lowers fire losses. It is widely used to extinguish building fires. It also used to battle in the impacts of natural disaster and calamities, to hunt for missing individuals, and to evacuate people and animals in the dark smoke and fog. It is also incorporated in the kit of rescue robots built for use in smoky and foggy settings. It might be used to assess the amount of infrared radiation emitted by a forest fire. The quantity of carbon dioxide emitted into the atmosphere is referred to as carbon footprint. Climate change and greenhouse gas emissions are increased as a result of its operation. The amount of CO2 in the atmosphere grows directly in proportion to the growth in the usage of fossil fuel during the Industrial Revolution. This research will discuss in depth about relevant studies from previous researchers and articles found about carbon footprint. Dependent variables and independent variables are considered in this study. Heat thermal energy will also be defined in this research to find its relation with carbon footprint. Therefore, with this, the awareness of oxygen production is to move forward in having sustainable environment. So here is some of the list of our literature review that we have used for this research. Next, we are going to present about our methodology to carry out this research. As you can see here, this is our flowchart throughout the study. First, we determine the research title, and then we identify objective, problem statement, scope of research, and research methods. Next is data collection. For data collection, they are divided into two categories, which are primary data and secondary data. For primary data, carbon dioxide sensor is used to measure carbon dioxide level, and then thermal imaging camera is used to define the thermal energy. As for the secondary data, there are journalism, articles, and questionnaire. For the analysis, we will be giving proper suggestions to overcome problems regarding carbon footprint while referring to ASHRAE 55 and SIPC AM10 standards.
So these are the devices that we use for our research method. First is the FLIR thermal imaging camera, lux light meter, wind meter, and also NDIR carbon dioxide sensor. So this is the close-up look of our devices. On the left, we have lux light meter. It will show the lux level of the room. And then we have leisure measure to measure the area of the room. And on the right, we have wind meter to measure the air velocity that contained in the room based on the point that we have chose. So this slide show the variables on the NDIR carbon dioxide sensor, where we can see the total volatile organic compound in mg per meter cube, the temperature of the room, humidity, and also carbon dioxide level. And on the left is the picture that you can see from the thermal imaging camera. The collection of data will be depend on the points that we have chose for certain types of building. For canteen, for instance, as you can see from the slide, we will have 20 points, and the devices will be put 1.8 meter above the floor level, which is equivalent to the height of a table, according to ASHRAE 55 standard. The data collected is then calculated into the average value depending on the variable. So it will then be compared to the standard, such as ASHRAE 55, where it can determine the thermal comfort, Jabatan Kejuruteraan to identify the standard of lux, and last but not least is the OCHA level to determine the carbon dioxide level that presented in the surrounding. Our group's research outcome would be conducting a sustainable environment, which defined as this building can be occupied with comfort and also good oxygen production. So that this research would be able to be used as an improvement ideas for corporations such as JKR, state government, and even the institution itself. May it be to build any buildings in the future or residential building. And it can also improve the comfortable level for occupants that live in the building. Next, we'll be moved to the findings, recommendation, and also solution. As you have seen before, based on the data, we have made a data comparison, and for temperature, canteen has the highest temperature among the location assessed, and concrete lab, on the other hand, has the lowest temperature. For carbon dioxide level, canteen has the highest carbon dioxide level compared to ladies' dormitory, which has only 474.5 ppm, which is the lowest among the location assessed. As for lux level, canteen has the lowest lux level, while ladies' dormitory has the highest lux level, but it depends on the standard that has been defined by JKR. And as for the velocity, welding lab has 0.06 meter per second, which is highest among all, and building services lab, on the other hand, has the lowest air velocity. As you can see, this is the graph that will be used to determine the thermal comfort of the building, where we can find the operative temperature versus the airspeed. And there is comfortable, too hot, too cold, or even too drafty, based on ASHRAE 55 parameters. This is the standard provided by Jabatan Kejuruteraan, where it shows the technique of lux level. For laboratories, it is 300. Workshop also the same, which is 300. And for bedroom, in general, will be 50. And as for the carbon dioxide level, we depend on OSHA standard, where it is said that typical outdoor air range is between 300 ppm to 400 ppm. As for data analyzing, based on ASHRAE 55 thermal comfort parameter, all the locations that we assessed are too hot. As for the lux level, welding lab average lux level does not imply the Panduan Teknik JKR for lux level, where it is below 300. And as for ladies' dormitory average lux level, it exceeds the recommended lux level by JKR, which is only 50. As for canteen, the lux level is determined by OSHA. The same thing goes to carbon dioxide level. All the labs and other than canteen is normal, as it doesn't exceed 500 ppm, but canteen has exceeded 1000 ppm but will not cause any drowsiness to the occupants that present in the building.
The carbon footprint of a building is the quantity of CO2 produced during its operation and activities. Managing and lowering carbon footprint as part of a low-carbon plan is becoming increasingly significant in building design, with its inherent cost saving and income prospect. Building green is one of the best ways to mitigate negative climate change because the technology to significantly reduce energy and CO2 emissions already exists. Reducing a building carbon footprint lower operating expenses, boosts stock morale, increases property values, and many more. Buildings become more ecologically friendly, lucrative, and healthy places to live and work. The following recommendations can assist in reducing a building footprint. So these are the solutions that we had recommended in order to reduce carbon footprint of a building. Firstly is conservation and energy efficiency. Conduct an energy assessment of all building and install energy-saving retrofit for lights, HVAC, and etc. Limit the runtimes for HVAC fan system and equipment usage. Focus on fume hood ventilation system efficiency, such as variable air volume fan system and heat recovery. Secondly, green construction and renovation. Reduce energy usage by using daylight and passive solar design components. Control the spread of parking lots and other paved surfaces that encourage more car and truck use and that increases greenhouse gas emission through the depletion of natural habitat.
The first impact of carbon dioxide is impact on global warming. Carbon dioxide levels are rising. Humans burn fossil fuel to power cars and other machines to generate electricity and to keep buildings warm. During burning, waste gases such as carbon dioxide are released. More fuel is utilized and more carbon dioxide is emitted as the human population grows. The greenhouse effect is exacerbated by additional carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. The atmosphere traps more thermal energy, causing the planet to grow warmer than it would be otherwise. Global warming refers to the rise in the Earth's temperature. headache, dizziness, restlessness, tingling or pins and needle sensation, trouble breathing, sweating, weariness, increased heart rate, high blood pressure, hypoxia, and convulsions are some of the symptoms.
Alright, next is conclusion. Based on the data obtained, we found that the level of carbon footprint in the selected location is different, where building services laboratories and concrete laboratories are in accordance with the standards set in OSHA standard and JKR standard, thus being a safe environment to live and use. While dormitory buildings, welding workshops, and canteen do not meet the set standards. Therefore, improvement suggestion will be made to monitor this issue. So this is our reference. Our next one is Gantt, and so this is our journey or progress of this study. We start from 22nd September 2021 and finish on 24th December 2021. That's all from us. Thank you.